Hello, everybody, and welcome to the interview with Jeremy Huang, who's the Group Investment Manager at Intra Energy Corporation. Jeremy's joining us today as one of the LinkedIn Power Profiles Australia interviews. And I think back at the time when he won his Power Profile award, he was first year out of university and working for JP Morgan at the time. And Jeremy, welcome to the call.
Nathaniel, how are you doing?
I'm good, thanks, mate. Can you just share the guy with the guys listening your version of what actually happened when you won the LinkedIn Power Profile Award?
Yeah, it was actually quite a surprise for me. As you noted, I was first year out of university working at an investment bank, so I didn't really have much time to look into LinkedIn and update my profile. In my mind, I was doing really very little to interact with LinkedIn, but they gave me a call and let me know that I was one of the top 10 viewed finance professionals, which is quite nice.
Wow.
And they actually sent a huge trophy to my office. So I was actually trying to hide it, but I left it under my desk. But as you do. Other people saw it, and because it's pretty, it was a blingy trophy, and they took it out, chucked it in the kitchen. I actually got quite a few comments about it, and that drove my profile views up even more.
So there you are, first year out of uni with a big trophy in the kitchen at the office. Fantastic.
Yeah.
So moving into the serious stuff. So how seriously do you think that people in Australia should be taking their LinkedIn profile as part of their professional brand?
Yeah, look, I mean, just to give a bit of context, I think in my mind, LinkedIn can be used for a number of different purposes. For me personally, it was a recruitment landing page. So for when recruiters want to try to get candidates in their book, essentially. But you've got people who are sales professionals who would use it as a lead generating tool, and you've got others who are potentially subject matter experts who kind of try to build their profile on their technical expertise. So and given the context I was using it for, and given that we are a generation who tend to look at our careers fairly seriously and trying to move in the best direction possible. It was critical for my career development.
Yeah, absolutely. You've got a fantastic track record of companies that you've worked for here, and one of the things I noticed first of all when I looked at your profile is it is very it's very clean cut, if you like, very succinct. But from what you've told me, it sounds like that's exactly the purpose. It served the purpose that you were using it for.
Yeah, exactly. So as a recruitment landing page,
yes,
when you look at it, you just want a very concise summary of what you've done, when were you at these companies, what your responsibilities are, and what your educational background is, and that's essentially perfect. And you can, if you think about it, you can almost very easily convert that into a one-page resume,
yes,
which was the standard in my industry. Having said that, that may be different for someone who perhaps is an academic, and their typical resumes that they send out would be up to 10 pages listing all the research and the work that they've done, which is important for them in that context. But and again, given that you're looking at sales lead generation as one of the aspects,
yes,
that would be different again in your particular case, and you obviously would know better than me how to structure it. But certainly for a recruitment landing page, you only want you want it to be snappy.
yes.
You do want to use some buzzwords, but most importantly, who you are, where you were, at what time.
Yeah, absolutely. And you said a really interesting word to me just before we started recording the call, and that was that it portrays confidence, and that really comes across in your profile, and it's not necessarily exactly the same thing that we want to portray and say somebody like you gave the example of somebody in I think of childcare, like because someone childcare, you want them to be friendly, approachable, be able to look after your kids, right? It's not necessarily the same as somebody that you want to be doing debt collection, for example. So you really have to go back to who it is that you want to connect with, and what sort of message you want to portray, and that goes through all the way to your photograph. And have you noticed anything about the LinkedIn Power profiles when it comes to photographs that are different to what other people are doing?
Yeah, I mean, and this is a good point you raised. So first of all, what your profile does have to be reasonably industry specific. So when I was doing my profile, I had a view that I wanted recruiters to be able to look at it, and I understood that as a recruiter, when you're searching for potential candidates, you're just looking for you're filtering by role and you're filtering by company. And so if you do that within LinkedIn yourself, you see a list of people within those companies, and every single person is using their corporate photo, which and of course it looks great, but it doesn't help you stand out within your industry. And so the point of that is, when I had my photo, I thought about I wanted to be a little bit different for the finance industry, but not to the point where it would it would turn people off. So I, instead of having the typical dull background, I had my photo taken at Central Park. So I was at New York at the time.
Oh,
and
cool.
So so and then when you look at the background itself, my photo at the time, I considered the contrast between, I guess, my facial features and background and suit and color of the shirt. So I was wearing a pretty kind of popping pink shirt. So these things, when added together, while it's not too far left field, it does help you stand out. Yes. From the recruiter's perspective, which was exactly what I was looking for. Yes. And you'll see that when you view your LinkedIn searches and how people are looking for you, a good chunk of that would be recruiters. Up to 20% will be recruiters looking at the year you were at a particular company or a particular industry.
Yeah, sure. While you've been talking, I've just been scrolling through some of the search results in the financial services industry, and it's amazing how similar each of the photographs look. The ones that are professionally taken are all done so in the office, head and shoulders, and the ones that are taken with the iPhone are you sort of glimpse over quite quickly. And particularly if you're a recruitment professional, you want to show a certain level of professionalism to your clients. So the likelihood of you being able to present something that's been a selfie from an iPhone is pretty low, I would imagine.
Well, yeah, and again, and of course that's the case for people in the finance industry. But obviously, if you were a professional selfie taker, as we've seen with a lot of these industry music or TV awards, then I think that'd be a very appropriate photo.
That's a very good idea. Good point. I hadn't thought of that. That's absolutely brilliant. So Jeremy, tell us a bit about what you currently use LinkedIn for now that you're well into your career and already had a lot of success. Do you still use it as much as you did in your first year of uni? First year out of uni, sorry.
It's very flattering, so I appreciate that. In terms of my LinkedIn use, now I'm at a company which I enjoy working at. So for me, it's less of a landing page, more for me to look at the people who we deal with, in particular, suppliers and customers, in order to get an idea of who they are. So to give you an example, I was able to, whenever we get a proposal from a vendor, we would look at the salesperson and try to understand their background and start researching from that's essentially the first thing we look at. So as a sales professional, it is critical that you would have your profile properly updated. And when we get proposals as well, usually there's a technical or a subject matter expert. And
Yeah.
again, looking at that, looking at their profile in LinkedIn is the first thing I do. And you look through, and you're kind of combing through their experience, what they've studied,
Yes.
etc. So for regardless of who you are, you having a LinkedIn profile will be of a benefit to you.
Yes.
And tailoring it to how you think others would interact with your profile is critical.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're seeing more and more of people using LinkedIn as a tool to find people in certain areas, and recruitment the industry was probably the first to catch on. Now we're seeing salespeople who are starting to go, well, these are my clients, how do I find them? LinkedIn's got a much better search tool for me to find people than the likes of Google, and people like myself who are looking for somebody to interview we can lead to conversations like this quite easily, can't it?
Yeah, I mean, you found me on LinkedIn. It was a pretty quick process of just sending me a message on LinkedIn. I mean, I think if you had tried finding me through a different source and called the office number, I doubt that we'd be having this conversation, because the office manager would screen you right out.
That's
so
right.
having that LinkedIn functionality to send a LinkedIn request or email message is very beneficial in terms of cutting out a lot of the screening that you may get from a sales professional point of view, and it's much easier to reach decision makers, and you can see who they are as well on LinkedIn, given the different networks and the companies that they work for.
Yeah, absolutely. And the whole thing falls apart if the salesperson's profile doesn't back up what they're saying in their message, because always what will happen is people will it will create some kind of curiosity, but they're always going to look at your profile, and if it looks rubbish, then the whole thing's not going to work.
Oh, absolutely. You do need a reasonably professional profile if you're a salesperson doing outbound messages from LinkedIn.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Well, look, we've almost run out of time, but if there's one key tip that you'd like to leave the listeners with today, what do you think it would be?
Look, I mean, we talk a lot about tailoring your profile to your industry and how your usage case is. But I think this next point is universal, which is to get your profile onto LinkedIn has obviously there's a little bit of a startup time and startup cost at the beginning to get that on there. But the way I did it was being at uni when LinkedIn first came out, I created that profile and just slowly updated it. And there is a guide within LinkedIn itself. When you log in, they give you a tour, and they give you a score of how complete your profile is. And really you over time, as you complete different sections of your profile, it updates that to 100%. So I did it gradually over a period of time. Someone who might need to get their LinkedIn profile up and done now might take a little bit longer and have to devote some time to it. But after you've done that, I barely touch LinkedIn these days in terms of updating my profile.
Yes.
And it's because because it's already there, it's a good repository, and and this is also true for when I did get the Power profile. At the time, being in investment banking, working at least an 8-hour week, I did the bare minimum, but I was still able to get high click-through rates through LinkedIn. And it's just take the time now to have a think about who you're using, who you're trying to attract into your profile and the usage case in your industry. Once you do that, you start completing the profile as per how LinkedIn instructs you to do it. And then it's very much smooth sailing. You've got your profile up there, and it's very easy to reap the rewards if you've done that, set up correctly at the start.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, so that's some really helpful tips, particularly for people that aren't necessarily salespeople and are looking to build their career and develop that quicker. LinkedIn's an amazing tool to be able to do that. So thank you very much, Jeremy, for your time. We know you're a busy man, so I really appreciate that. And we'll look forward to connecting with you on LinkedIn in the future.
Thanks very much, Nathaniel.
Okay, thanks, mate. Cheers.